Speaker Bowers, President Fan, House Leaders Peterson and Fernandez, Senate Leaders Gray and Bradley, Chief Justice Brutinel, members of the legislature and judiciary, my fellow Arizonans, thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's great to be back. Allow me to start with a question. Show of hands. Who here today in this chamber was born somewhere other than the state of Arizona? As you can see, there's a lot of us. I'll always be a kid from Toledo, and we have folks here from all over the country and all over the world. It's uniquely Arizona. We choose to move here, live here, make this home, and we're not alone. As we stand here today, more than 70% of our adult citizens were born somewhere else. So were some of our greatest state icons. Leaders like Secretary of the Air Force, Barbara Barrett. Trailblazers like Raul Castro. Legends like Jerry Colangelo. Quiet saints like Bill Bidwell. Giants like Sandra Day O'Connor. And heroes like John McCain and Pat Tillman. And the newcomers keep coming. Last year, we punched through 7 million people and left Massachusetts in the dust. 120,000 people are moving here a year. That's more than 300 a day. By the time I finish this speech, 14 new Arizona residents will have arrived. And I'm known for brevity. I think it's fair to say that I speak for all of us, the native Arizonans and the newcomers, when I say we love it here. It's for good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to report the state of our state is strong. And the best part is, it's only getting better. Look at all that's happening around us. Our crime rate is dropping, and school test scores are rising. Our credit rating is up, and our debt is way down. Household incomes have hit a record high, and our poverty rate has dropped faster than any other state in the nation. As we enter a new decade, things look a lot different than when we entered the last one. Today, Arizona's economy is more diverse. We have more manufacturing jobs than construction jobs, and we're top 10 in transportation, science, technology, and healthcare. Our national reputation has never been better. Our relationship with Mexico has never been stronger. And with the new USMCA, we've paved the way for an even stronger trade relationship with our valued neighbors to the south. We got here by doing things our way, the Arizona way. And I'm here to tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here, common sense still rules the day. Other states and DC politicians might be focused on growing government. Arizona grows opportunity. Our population is surging, but the size of our government is actually shrinking. all while providing faster, more efficient customer service to taxpayers and citizens. In Arizona, we believe in maximizing freedom and limiting government. We believe government should do fewer things, but do the things it does well. Let's continue hacking away at the permanent bureaucracy and the mother may I state. The people don't need the government's permission. The government needs the people's permission. We believe in the freedom to work. On Arizona's 50th birthday, someone wisely predicted Arizona will continue to be the haven for people who seek an outlet for initiative and a reward for work. That was Barry Goldwater in 1962. In that spirit, we passed universal recognition of occupational licensing, allowing anyone in America to bring their skills to Arizona and get to work. Up in the governor's office, our phones have been ringing off the hook. Red states, blue states, all wanting to replicate what Arizona has done. Representative Peterson, how's that for model legislation? Fact is, if imitation really is the sincerest form of flattery, then Arizona should be blushing. We were the first state in the nation to pass the American Civics Act. 34 others have followed suit, only 15 more to go. Our unanimous work on opioids was the most aggressive and comprehensive policy in the nation and prompted other states and the federal government to take notice and take action. And way back in 2016, we protected free speech on our college campuses. When it takes Texas 3 years to catch up, you know we're doing something right. Here, you can brew beer, churn ice cream, and make an honest living. Now, all we need is Uber and Lyft back at Sky Harbor. We launched the Happy Babies program to let new parents bring their infants to work. And how do we know it was a great idea? Because in California, it got vetoed. We fired the lobbyists, freed the blow dryers, and along the way even managed to legalize potlucks. Cutting red tape, we were doing it before it was cool. But the most surprising news is not everyone is mimicking us. Places like California, Illinois, Washington State, Connecticut, and New York, they're taking the opposite approach. Higher taxes, more regulations, wasteful spending, mountains of debt. That's the wrong way. We'll stick to the Arizona way. While those states are crushing people and businesses with burdensome regulations and unnecessary laws, their residents are flocking to Arizona. Here, we're not just open for business, we're open for opportunity for everyone. As a result, we're now the #1 inbound state in America. Our economy is roaring. 350,000 new jobs since 2015. It's reflected in our bursting general fund and growing revenues. But for those of you who don't know me that well yet, spoiler alert, we're not going on a spending spree. But old habits die hard for the spending lobby. There's a chorus of special interests scheming, plotting, and clamoring for new and higher taxes. They don't seem to understand the reasons our new residents are coming here. It isn't to import those bad out-of-state policies. It's to escape them. So let me reiterate what I've said in 5 prior State of the State speeches and 2 inaugural addresses, because apparently it bears repeating. No new taxes. Not this session, not next session, not here in this chamber, not at the ballot box, not on my watch. We're running $1 billion surplus. And somehow that's still not enough? Give us a break. Even better, give the hard-working taxpayers a break. And let's start with the ones who we can all agree have sacrificed the most. We are blessed to have more than 600,000 veterans in our state. One of the largest populations of veterans in the country, from World War II to post 9/11, our greatest generation to our newest generation. These brave men and women are heroes to whom we as citizens owe a debt of gratitude for all the freedoms we enjoy each and every day. I'd like to ask all the veterans in the chamber today to please rise so we can recognize and honor your service. Yours is a public service in a league of its own. As President Lincoln said of our veterans, the world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. To say these individuals are great Americans is an understatement. Once retired, our vets continue to give back. We can never repay them, but we can at least do our part to demonstrate our appreciation. Our vets have already earned their benefits, put their lives on the line. The government shouldn't be taxing their service to country. It should be honoring their service to country. Our budget does this by eliminating all state income taxes on our veterans' military pensions once and for all. We have a goal to make Arizona home base for veterans everywhere in the country. These women and men make our state stronger. To all our veterans everywhere, from California to New York State, Arizona wants you, all of you. You've put our country first, and now with this budget, Arizona will put you first. Eliminating taxes for our veterans is one way, but not the only way we can honor our heroes. We're connecting veterans to jobs, and we're working towards the opening of 2 new veterans' homes. And the battlefield isn't the only place where our servicemen and women's lives is at risk. Once they come home, they face new challenges, with suicide rates 3 times higher among Arizona's veterans. Our Department of Veteran Services, under the direction of Colonel Wanda Wright, is a national leader in addressing veteran suicide. Through the Be Connected program, veterans are connecting with one another for support and behavioral health services. But more needs to be done for all Arizonans struggling with this growing crisis. It's now the 8th leading cause of death in our state. This is a national problem, one needing Arizona solutions. Last year, Dr. Kara Christ, leader of the Department of Health Services, convened a group of stakeholders and mental health experts to develop a plan to combat suicide and save lives. And when it comes to our kids, in the iPhone era, they face a world dramatically different than the one we grew up in. Modern technology, social media, loneliness, vaping. We need solutions that focus on the whole child, promoting personal resilience, leveraging our community and a supportive environment. Let's start by increasing access to mental health care. We're working with Senator Kate Brophy-McGee and Representative Jeff Weniger on a long overdue reform. Insurance companies should be covering mental health just like they cover an annual physical. And we're going to make sure they do. I've called on you to get rid of old laws. Today, I'm leading by example. Moments ago, I rescinded 23 old executive orders, resulting in the elimination of 18 boards and commissions we just don't need. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through the list. You won't miss them. We've been on a blitz to wipe out needless regulations. 2,289 gone. That's the equivalent of a $134 million tax cut without impacting the general fund 1 penny. But we're not done yet. I've issued a new executive order with a new reform. If the government ever deems a new regulation absolutely necessary, it must first identify 3 others to eliminate. You get it. The result, new regulations will naturally mean less regulations. Overall, we are doing more with less. Our hard-working state employees are rooting out waste. They've consolidated and even eliminated entire state agencies, and they've reduced the state fleet by 767 vehicles, saving taxpayers $31 million. Other areas of government could follow their lead. There are hundreds of unelected boards and commissions that exist in a dark corner of state government, often escaping accountability and scrutiny. We've sought to chip away at the deep-rooted cronyism, but there's still too many insiders and industry good old boys. It's time to clean this up. Senator Michelle Ugenti-Rita has a bill that puts real people, unbiased people, on these boards. Let's pass it. Last year, during budget negotiations, Senate Democratic leader David Bradley alerted us to something new. Boards stockpiling cash and sitting on bank accounts of millions in reserves, all while continuing to burden real people with fees. It's time for that to end. Let's freeze the fees and free the people. Plumbers, barbers, nurses, and engineers, no one should ever have to buy their freedom back from the government, least of all the men and women who have served our country. You heard me say I want Arizona to be the national leader for veterans. Well, Representative Joanne Osborne's got the bill for our heroes and military spouses. Polish your resumes. We're getting rid of your fees. We're also going to target more resources towards our trade programs with an eye toward Achieve 60 AZ. At our community colleges, a full restoration of STEM and workforce development funding. In our public schools, more dollars to CTE trade programs that train students in the high-demand careers of the future. These are worthy and responsible investments, so with money in the bank, let's make them. We prioritize fiscal responsibility. We've learned from the mistakes of the past. This building, we now own the deed. We're sitting on our highest credit rating ever. Treasurer Yee, how about that permanent land endowment trust fund? $6.2 billion, the largest in history. Well done. And last year, instead of going on a sugar high and spending through our surplus, we brought our rainy day fund to a record-breaking $1 billion. This allows us to return dollars back to the hardworking taxpayers and make smart, targeted investments, like new roads and bridges, We've fully and permanently restored transportation dollars for our rural communities. The widening of I-17, State Route 189 in Nogales, US 95 in Yuma. Last week, I called on the federal government to fund the Tonto Basin Bridge. And we cut the ribbon on the newly completed Loop 202 into the West Valley. It's progress. And next on the list, I-10. The Phoenix-Tucson corridor is an economic artery for our state, and it needs expanding. It's time to accelerate completion of I-10's widening in both directions between our two largest cities. Our budget puts the pedal to the metal with the construction of a new 6-lane bridge over the Gila River. This replaces a 56-year-old bridge. 62,000 people drive over it every day. That's 23 million a year. So let's break ground ASAP. We need to connect all parts of our growing state. Rural areas still lack high-speed internet. Let's triple our investment in rural broadband grants and invest $50 million in smart highway corridors to install broadband along our rural interstates. This will make our highways safer and smarter than ever before and pave the way to get all of rural Arizona logged on. All throughout our priorities, you'll see a focus on rural Arizona because there are 15 counties, and newsflash, there are needs outside of the great state of Maricopa. Nearly 20 years ago, Arizona voters passed the Tribal State Gaming Compact. It's been a net positive for all Arizonans. These compacts begin expiring within the next few years. For months, we've been working to develop a modern, updated agreement, one that is regulated, safe, and limited, and that preserves the culture of our state. I'd like to thank all the tribal leaders who have been hard at work on these negotiations. It's been a give and take, and a worthwhile agreement is this close. We owe it to our tribes and our citizens to get this done. Last year, we came together and passed the Drought Contingency Plan. It was the most significant water policy in 40 years. We will continue to protect Lake Mead, the Colorado River, groundwater, and our ag jobs. But we shouldn't be dealing with this issue one generation at a time. We need a strategic, ongoing effort to turn Arizona into the international capital for water innovation. Look at all Israel has accomplished. Why not Arizona? We've been a leader on water, and with this approach, we will be an even stronger leader far into the future. Now, there's no new shortage of jobs in Arizona, but many vital jobs remain unfilled in our rural communities. So we've got a plan, a rural jobs initiative. First, tourism and state parks. There's no place more beautiful to vacation than scenic Arizona. And with an infusion of new dollars, we're going to work with Tourism Director Debbie Johnson to ensure the whole world knows it. Next, workforce. Small business is the backbone of our economy. So we're launching a partnership with Local First Arizona to strengthen small businesses, get rural Arizonans back to work, and bolster our local economies. Our community colleges are creating a pipeline of talent. So we're expanding these efforts with a $4 million investment in our rural colleges. There are currently over 2,000 manufacturing jobs available outside Maricopa and Pima counties. Let's get these jobs filled and attract even more. ASU, U of A, and NAU have also stepped up to fuel our economy, and we're about to pour on the gas. Regents Chair Dr. Larry Penley has proposed what he calls the New Economy Initiative. It's an innovative approach that enhances our capacity to graduate more students for the critical jobs of today and tomorrow. It's just the latest effort by our universities to solve problems and to do it the Arizona way. Like working to address the national teacher shortage. Through the Arizona Teachers Academy, we made a commitment to our aspiring teachers. You stay and teach in Arizona, and we'll cover your college tuition. The effort is paying off. Enrollment in the Teachers Academy has skyrocketed, with 2,170 students now participating. We're proud to have some of the students and graduates of our Teachers Academy here today. Ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in welcoming these new Arizona teachers? This year, we intend to build on our momentum with reforms sponsored by Senator Paul Boyer, allowing even more students to go through the academy. Students seeking degrees in math and science, teachers specializing in educating blind children. Arizona's future depends on these educators. Let's provide them with access so they can get to the front of the classroom debt-free. There's still work to do to address the teacher shortage, but a recent study by the Center for American Progress is encouraging. Arizona has experienced the second highest growth in new teachers enrolling in teacher preparation programs. We're actually one of only 5 states out of 50 seeing an increase in enrollment. And this is news we can all celebrate. because the state of our state can only be strong with strong public schools. Here are the facts. Over the past 5 years, we've increased per-student spending more quickly and consistently than at any time in the past 20 years. Today, Arizona is one of only a few states in the nation demonstrating academic improvements over the last decade. We provided funding to get schools built faster and on time to meet growing demand. And most importantly, by the start of the new school year, teacher pay will be up 20%. In total, we've pumped $4.5 billion in new investments in Arizona schools. And with our latest budget, that figure will rise to $6.6 billion. And we've done all of this without raising taxes. In addition, an even larger investment in school counselors, cops on campus, and school safety. A stronger focus on CTE and the trades. More money for the Arizona's Teachers Academy and Teach for America. And a full, complete, and accelerated restoration of flexible funding 2 years ahead of schedule. Speaker Bowers, President Fan, when you're ready to vote, I'm ready to sign. There's still more we can do to help children in our state who are facing the biggest challenges. The late, great John McCain called education the civil rights issue of the 21st century. And he was right. As he put it, what is the advantage in a low-income area of sending a child to a failing school and that being their only choice? In that spirit, we've worked hard to create more choice and opportunities for kids and their parents. Open enrollment, public charter schools, education savings accounts. And in Arizona, much of this work has been bipartisan. We're celebrating 25 years of public charter schools in our state. Another Arizona idea that's been a model for the country. And today, we are honored to have the two trailblazers who led this bipartisan innovation, one Republican, one Democrat. They're back in the chamber today. Former Superintendent Lisa Graham Keegan and former State Senator Armando Ruiz. This is truly something that makes Arizona unique. The Arizona way. Here, kids are not trapped in failing schools. And despite what you hear from some folks on the national campaign trail, school choice isn't about charter schools versus private schools versus district schools. It's about kids and families. When we debate these issues here at the Capitol, it's easy to forget the fact that real people and real kids are impacted by these policies. Kids like Adonis Watt. At age 5, Adonis was diagnosed with a rare form of congenital glaucoma, and as a result, went blind. And while he may have lost his sight, he did not lose his drive. Today, at age 15, Adonis is a hero of many. A superhero, to be exact. His passion is an inspiration to fellow students at Brophy Prep and to everyone who sees him score a touchdown at a Friday night football game. And now, his story is being shared across the world through Marvel Comics' first Braille comic book, The Unstoppable Adonis. And as you can see, he's here today with his mom, Veronica. They are guests of Angela and I. This young man truly is unstoppable. Let's please once more recognize Arizona's own superhero, Adonis Watt. Faced with the expense of Braille textbooks and specialized education needs, Veronica chose to pursue Adonis's education using an ESA. He's just one example of how school choice has helped so many families and empowered so many Arizona children. Children of men and women in uniform, children with special needs, and our Native American population. Like every other Arizona parent, Savannah James is dedicated to ensuring her child, Bethany, receives a quality education. She selected a school near their home on the Navajo Nation. For years, Hilltop School served Bethany well. Imagine their surprise when they received a letter from the heavy hand of government declaring the school out of bounds and demanding repayment of their funds from their education savings account. This is an example of government losing sight of the people it's supposed to serve. Savannah and Bethany are here today, and we have a message for them. We won't stand for it, and help is on the way. When it comes to what's next, we plan to focus our resources on the places it can make the most difference, targeting the achievement gap in low-income schools. We've reduced wait lists and expanded and replicated success. In Maryvale, a new Vista College prep is evidence. More than 90% of their students qualify for free and reduced lunch. The school is the recipient of the prestigious Blue Ribbon Award nationally for closing the achievement gap. This is what equal opportunity in education looks like. This is what we need more of in the state of Arizona. Results-based funding has been one way to reward and replicate success in our best public schools. It's working. Let's expand it and continue to recognize the achievements and needs of high-poverty schools where educators are doing amazing things to beat the odds. We're also going to finally fund and fully fund the cost for low-income students to take the advanced placement test. Just like every other Arizona kid, they can earn college credits while still in high school. And we have a proven model to scale success in our most struggling schools. Avondale Elementary School District serves more than 5,000 West Valley students, nearly 70% of them residing in low-income areas. In 2015, Superintendent Betsy Hargrove didn't like what she saw on the report card. So she rolled up her sleeves to turn things around. And did she deliver? By 2018, through a targeted strategy, the district had double-digit growth in math and English, triple the average growth of other Arizona schools. Same results in Deer Valley and Wickenburg. Superintendents Betsy Hargrove, Curtis Finch, and Howard Carlson are here today. Please join me in congratulating these school leaders. With these proven results and outcomes, we intend to invest more and transform more Arizona schools. The idea is straightforward. Help struggling schools with tools, resources, and expertise to produce better results for students. We call it Project Rocket. We're working with Representative Michelle Udall to make it a reality. We owe it to the kids in these schools. They're waiting. Let's not let them down. We will continue to lead as the state that prioritizes our nation's founders and their founding principles. For we are called to participate as citizens, not spectators. And that responsibility demands knowledge and action. Today, only 1 in 4 Americans can name all 3 branches of government. 70% don't know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. In Arizona, we've taken steps to ensure that the next generation is equipped to inherit our republic. Already, our high school students must pass the citizenship test before graduation. I'm proposing we expect more. Start them even earlier and give our middle schoolers a chance to complete this exam, because there is more to learn. As Margaret Thatcher said, European nations were made by history. The United States was made by philosophy, unique among all nations. The United States knows precisely when and exactly why it was founded. We are blessed to have one Arizonan who's the ideal of this aspirational creed. Her life is a living civics lesson, and Arizona is fortunate to be home to the institute that bears her name. I'm talking about Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Who better to hold as a model for the next generation? That's why I'm calling for a day when classroom instruction will be dedicated entirely to civics. Sandra Day O'Connor Civics Celebration Day. It's not enough to just teach the values of our founding principles. We must demonstrate them in our daily lives. Around the country, free speech and other constitutional rights guaranteed to the people are being assaulted or abandoned for safe spaces and trigger warnings. Some people would rather silence speech than hear an opposing view. Have they read our Constitution? Do they know why America was founded? Thankfully, we have 3 university presidents, Presidents Crow, Robbins, and Chang, who ensure Arizona's campuses are models for the rest of the country, where the marketplace of ideas is alive and well, and where diversity of thought and discourse are given room to grow. The Arizona way. The safety of our citizens. It's what keeps me up at night. As you'll see in our balanced budget, we continue to put a focus on our border strike force to combat the influx of dangerous drugs and crime at our border. New surveillance cameras in southern Arizona and an upgraded state-of-the-art radio system for law enforcement. In Arizona, we are fortunate to have so many brave men and women protecting us 24/7. Our National Guard and active duty military personnel, our first responders, firefighters, and our cops. They brave challenges on duty and off with courage and dignity. In December, Phoenix Fire Chief Kara Kalkbrenner shared the news she was diagnosed with breast cancer. With the same strength she confronts the most blazing of fires, she took the diagnosis head on. We are so grateful to have her here with us today. Thank you, Chief. We're with you. These men and women run into danger to protect us. We saw it recently. One of our own state troopers brutally attacked in Tempe, fighting for his life after what seemed like a routine stop. By the grace of God, Trooper Hugh Grant is here with us today. He's a hero. Thank you, Trooper Grant. Incidents like these are reminders of the dangers law enforcement face every day. These are the good guys, and we should do everything in our power to protect them. That's why our budget includes funding to finally put body cameras on every state trooper. This is an idea backed by law enforcement and clear research. So let's make it happen. There's no doubt about it, public safety is the most important thing we do. In correctional facilities across the state, we've led to provide second chances to those serving their time, setting up job training workshops and partnering with employers. Since 2017, more than 3,900 of our fellow Arizonans have completed second chance programs, equipping them with the tools and skills to make a better life. more than 2,400 had a job upon release, with hundreds more in programs now. We know these programs work. This year, we're doubling down on this successful model to give more individuals the opportunity at a better choice and a better life. The new director, David Shin, is a former Marine turned public servant. He's dedicated his life to this noble cause, and he's building on these efforts to transform our correction system and change how we think and speak. So going forward, the department will take on a new moniker, one that more clearly reflects the agency's mission: the Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry. We've provided more opportunities, and we've decreased the amount of people returning to prison and helped many find meaningful work. There's another marker we're going to meet this year. We're shutting down a state prison. It will enhance safety at our remaining facilities and save taxpayers $274 million over the next 3 years. And for the rest of our facilities, let's make sure they're staffed and secure for our correctional officers and inmates alike. That's why my budget will fix the locks and provide additional pay raises for our correctional officers on top of last year's raises, all in the name of public safety. If anyone needed a reminder that here in Arizona, we respect the rule of law, last fall, the voters of Tucson demonstrated that loud and clear. There, in our state's second largest city, a troubling proposal to defy federal law was soundly and overwhelmingly rejected by Democrats and Republicans alike. It wasn't even close. And now it's time for all Arizonans to make their voices heard and enshrine it in our Constitution. TJ Shope has the ballot referral. This November, let's give all Arizona voters the opportunity to say yes to the rule of law and no to sanctuary cities. Over at our Department of Child Safety, our dedicated caseworkers have led an unrivaled turnaround, safely reducing the number of children in out-of-home care by 4,565 kids. They reduced the average time to place a child in a foster home from a work week to same day. It's a national model for how to help our kids. For the second year in a row, our budget includes additional dollars to reward these selfless public servants responsible for the turnaround with a well-deserved raise. And if you want to shut down more prisons and reduce the homelessness rate, there's no better place to start than putting our children in loving homes. Too many of our youth who age out of foster care without being adopted will experience homelessness. It's tragic, and government can't solve this problem alone. We need the faith-based community, our churches, pastors, priests, nonprofits, and families to play a part as well. And to get more of these children into permanent loving homes, I'm proposing a $19 million investment in funding new adoptions. Our goal, keep brothers and sisters together and help children with disabilities. We'll also be doubling the grandma stipend to provide needed resources to keep families together. If you need an example of someone to look to, someone who has fought for children her entire life, you don't have to look far. Arizona is blessed to be home to an international leader in the fight against human trafficking. Her efforts have shed a light around the world on this dark practice, and she does it with a humility and grace that is every bit as Arizona as she is. We have her with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Cindy McCain. For those of us who have called Arizona home for decades, we know what makes our state truly special. We see it every day. For those who got here just yesterday, welcome to the crackling energy of booming Arizona. We're glad to have you. Here we do things a little differently. Here we believe in opportunity for all. We believe in solving the problems of today so future generations won't have to. We believe in the free market, the free exchange of ideas, and the freedom to make your own way. We believe in life and the potential of every child, along with the dignity of every individual. We believe when we put others first and work together, we can make a difference. Just this past Friday, the 4 leaders of these chambers, Democrat and Republican, sat together on the same stage for a civil, thoughtful, and honest discussion about the session in front of us. I enjoyed listening, and I learned a lot. And I couldn't help but think, can you imagine this ever happening in Washington, D.C.? It's called statesmanship. Let's follow the example set by Karen Fann, David Bradley, Rusty Bowers, and Charlene Fernandez. Let's demonstrate we can get things done, that the campaign can wait, that we can govern, and that we can do it together. It's how we do things here. It's the Arizona way. Let's get to work. Thank you, and God bless.